Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I know it's been a little while since my last video. I've just got really stacked up. I think I've got 5 or 6 guns since the last video I put out, but I just haven't had a chance to do anything, having to go to work all the time and everything else that comes up. But I got one right here that has jumped in front of the line. I took a lot of interest in this gun. I've been watching some videos, which I actually don't watch a lot of YouTube videos. A couple of guys I follow that every time I type in a certain gun, there's always a couple of individuals that seems to have all of them already. So I tend to watch just a couple of those, but this gun in particular, I've been watching what videos were out there just because I did a review on the original 509 that came out last year, and I gave kind of a lukewarm review of it. Not that I don't like the gun. It was just a little underwhelming. I didn't not like it, but nothing just blew me away that I became a 509 fan. So I was a little skeptical about this gun, but I've always had my eye on that FN45 tactical, and I've never pulled the trigger, so to speak, to buy that one. And so when this similar model came out, the 509 tactical 9mm, I said, well, I might give this a try. So I started watching the videos, started reading up on it, and still wasn't quite sure. I knew my local gun store had a couple of these, so I went to kind of take a little peek of them. And once I got it in hand, I instantly noticed a couple of minor upgrades, and sometimes these minor upgrades go a long way. One problem I had with both the the compact that I had, I was really excited when that compact first came out, and again, underwhelming. There was certain things I didn't like, and when the 509 came out, I went for the hype. I bought it, but I pretty much bought every pistol that came out on the market, I think, last year, and that's typically what I do. I'll buy a lot of these pistols when they come out, and some I really like, and some, kind of go to the bottom of the list. And that's kind of what the 509 did. And the main thing I didn't like about the 509 was the mag release. And what would happen on the original 509 is when you would go to hit that mag release, your opposite hand, those fingers on there, would block that mag release, and so when you would try to activate it, it would get stuck because you'd have to kind of manipulate these fingers away from that, or it would catch your mag. You would jam up on you and just stick, and my OCD just can't tolerate that. I just can't do it. And Fan Nation will come to defense of every gun that they love, and they'll say, well, the only thing you do is learn to hold your fingers a certain way. And I'm like, why would I want to do that when I don't have to do that with any other gun that I own? And there's quite a few of them. Why would I have to make an exception to manipulate and try to add muscle memory to a function of this gun when every other gun does it the way it's supposed to? And when the FNS Compact came out, it had that same issue, and I sent an email to FN. I said, is there a delete or a fix to this that I can change this out? Because I kind of like the gun, but I really don't like this certain feature. And they did kind of they sent me another little email back, and they were kind of put off by my comment. They're like, no, we do this basically on purpose. We do it for safety so you don't accidentally drop your mag. And I'm familiar with government work and other things, so I know about what happened. Most likely some police officer in Europe somewhere accidentally dropped his mag in a hot situation, and when FN was approaching them for contracts or whatever, they said, hey, no, this mag, it's really sensitive, you need to fix this. And FN's like, okay, we'll do that. And I don't know that's what happened, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So they handicapped the entire line, basically, to fix that problem. So they've readdressed that. They said they're listening to their customers, which is great. I give a lot of props to FN for doing that, but what that really means is sales wasn't that great. When they say they're listening to their customers, they're listening to sales. It's like Glock with finger grooves. They had finger grooves forever. 80% of the people said that we hate finger grooves, but the Glocks were selling. So Glock says, why do we have to listen to our customers or our fans when you're still buying our guns? So finger grooves never really went away until the Gen 5s, but even that was because of FBI requirements. FBI didn't want finger grooves, so Glock catered to that, trying to win a contract, and then they just renamed that FBI gun the Generation 5 and sold it to us. So when they listen to us, they listen to sales, but I'm glad they did it because I hated that mag release. They fixed it, and the first thing I did when I got this gun, I was just sitting there playing with the mag release, and I'm hearing people still complaining that it's stiff. This is super nice and crisp. It ejects super nice. They've gone a long way to fix that, and I can't believe how something so small and relatively insignificant turns out not to be insignificant, because now I like the gun. I gave a lukewarm review on the first one, a couple of things I didn't like, and they've addressed the biggest concern from me. Couple other features. The trigger, you're going to love or hate the trigger. We have people going out on record making videos saying that this is a heavy trigger. I probably have measured 50 pulls of this trigger, and this trigger averages 6 to 6.5 pounds for me. I've never actually got one to hit 7 pounds, which was kind of the advertised pull that I was hearing listening to some of these reviews. And even 7 pounds isn't that bad. Some of the guys complaining about this having a heavy trigger are guys I've seen do videos that I know are shooting guns with 10 and 12 pound gritty double action triggers, and they're fine with those. But then I guess since it's a striker fired, or they don't like FN, or whatever the problem is, now all of a sudden it's a heavy trigger. It's not heavy. It's 6.5 pounds, guys. It's not heavy. Glock was bashed and battered for countless years having that 5.5 pound trigger. People still to this day say Glock's too light to carry because it's got a 5.5 pound trigger. But the new norm, people will want target or race gun type triggers in their carry guns. So I think the new norm is swinging closer to the 4 pound trigger. I know my P10 and I think the M&P, the 2.0s have a 4 pound trigger, something like that. So I think that's where we're reconditioning ourselves, that everybody's wanting a super light trigger. So it's not heavy, it's just not super light like some of the ones that are coming out on the market. What you may or may not like, for the most part, and this is an unloaded gun, all my guns are unloaded, but one thing I don't really like is the hinge trigger, and that's just the style that they want. A lot of people don't like the Glock style, little safety plunger in there. So this is one version that you avoid that. If you don't like that little safety plunger, they're going to give you something like that to take its place in these striker fired pistols. And I don't necessarily like it, but it doesn't trigger my OCD quite as bad as, say, like the M&P, the triggers, that those are so mushy and exaggerated. Plus the M&P triggers have all that lateral movement where you can just shake the trigger every which way, and it's still not bad. It's just, like I said, it's just my OCD that I don't like it. But what it makes up for, and this super heavy trigger that people keep saying that it has, is it's a super crisp and relatively short trigger. When you hit this wall, and this is what combat pistols usually or service pistols have, they have that wall, and it has a very defined wall right there. So that's all that pre-travel you have right there. And people say it's gritty. I mean, it may be slightly gritty, but it's so short that it's almost irrelevant. And I think what a lot of people feel in that grit is you can feel this initial movement. You can even hear that just actuating that little safety feature. I think it makes it feel like it has a little more grit than it actually does. But what is good is once you hit that wall, virtually your very next movement is firing the gun. I mean, I'll try to capture the best I can here, but that's the wall. Your very next movement fires the gun. The reset is kind of on the average side. It's not as aggressive as some of the others that are on the market right now, but it's very tactile. You feel it definitely. You can hear it even with hearing protection on. I can hear it reset. So it's not super short, but it's not bad. I mean, it's a good service grade type reset. Service, and it's good all around trigger. It's not great. There it goes. I'm talking so much you can't really hear it. We'll do that again. I'll shut up for a second. So see, I mean, it's a little long, or I shouldn't say long. It's just, it's just not short, but it's super crisp. And that's what I liked about the F&S Compact so much, is that it's got defined wall, super crisp. I mean, it's a good trigger. If you can't get over that little movement right there, you're just not going to like it. I know Apex has had that trigger of theirs in development for several years. They started developing it before the gun was released, so it's a flat trigger. Maybe you'll like that when if it eventually comes out. But for my money, I'm not going to replace this trigger. There's nothing wrong with it. It does what it's supposed to do. If that hits your OCD enough, where you don't like that little movement, and like I said, I'm not crazy about it, but it's not enough to make me want to change the trigger. The trigger's good. It's light. It's not a heavy trigger. It's just not super light like everybody wants these days. A couple other features. You'll see that Vicker style mag catch, mag release, and they've gone pretty much committed saying, yes, this is a mag release too, and it is a pleasure to activate. Like I said, it's the small things. A lot of these things are not jumping, around and celebrating that it's something out of the box. It's not necessarily that. These are the Vicker style releases, but they are so smooth. Every time I was changing mags out, it's just really, really nice. And a couple other things we've talked about in the past, the thread protectors. A lot of times, those will fall off, and if you shoot enough mags, they're almost guaranteed to fall off. They walk out of place. And a lot of times when I have these, I will just take them off, and I won't worry about it, and I'll just shoot it. And then when I'm done shooting, I'll put the thread protector back on. But they've gone, a little feature they put on there is they've made that where it doesn't walk off, or at least I haven't had it walk off. I put a couple hundred rounds through it with that thread protector on there, and it didn't budge. So that works great. I did see a video where someone was kind of scoffing at the idea because he put his suppressor on there, and the suppressor still moved, but it is not designed to lock in your suppressor. That would be fantastic, but that's not what it's designed to do. It's just designed to keep this on so you can shoot this without having to take it off. Like I said, it's not a huge thing. You could just take it off and shoot it, but having it on there, it's a nice little touch that I really do like. A lot of things are still typical. The 509's got the great serrations. One YouTuber, I think, did coin the phrase that this kind of has the off-road tire look to it, and I've noticed a couple of guys are copying that. So I won't mention who I first heard it because he may not be the first one, but now everybody's calling it that. In my review, I compared this to the F&S Compact, which was very aggressive. It would actually leave the little patterns on your hand after you're through shooting it, and a lot of people didn't like it. And so FN, listening to their customers or listening to their sales, addressed that, and so they gave this the appearance of being very rugged when it's actually kind of smooth. These front serrations are actually nice. They're kind of thin enough, if you can see them, where your hand actually touches in there, so you get a full grip, and they're not super aggressive, but they're pretty nice. They hold my fingers in really good. This is kind of average. I mean, it's not really smooth or aggressive. One of my favorite touches that they came out with the 509, and I've seen this on other guns too. I wish more would do it. And that right there is not aggressive, but it does give you a nice little extra grippage right there, and I really do like that. I wish they would put that kind of under the trigger guard right there too. That'd be a nice touch. But I really like the way they did that. The only problem with the grip or the gun is the back. Like here is that off-road tire that the other guy had mentioned. But in my original video, the 509, I said that this is designed to look aggressive, to kind of fool a lot of guys into thinking it's aggressive. And I've seen other people comment on this tactical that it's got a very nice aggressive backstrap, and it don't. This is super smooth. I mean, I wouldn't do that to the original F&S Compact. Probably wouldn't do that. But yeah, you can take this strap off, rub it across your face, and it's not going to bother you. It's super smooth. It's not as bad as my P07, P09 backstrap, which are actually, legit slippery. But they're following the sales. People didn't like that over-aggressive texturing, so they can't please everybody, so I'm not even going to complain about that. What I will probably do for the pistol is I may just experiment on stippling just a backstrap, because everything else is okay. I don't really need to do a whole lot there, but the backstrap could use some work. I may buy one of those spare black ones and stipple that one, see how I like it, and that will probably do the trick. That's probably all it needs for me. This is a really good out of the box gun. It doesn't really need a whole lot. The trigger's fine. Everything's really fine. The mag release, I can't say enough. Just that little bit of difference has saved the gun for me. Took a mediocre gun for me, and just that. And it's kind of sad to say that, because it just kind of catches it back up to the pack. I mean, it's virtually everybody else has a decent mag release, with some exceptions. But that was what it was really missing for me. It was kind of my pet peeve. So I can deal with this back strap. I can fix that. I don't really want to put a Talon grip or anything on there. But I think that's what I'll do. I'll just get a spare strap, fix it, and I think we're good. And I did put this OLED on there. This came with that flash sale they did. This is like $40. I got the little mini flashlight for my keychain to go with it for combo, $50, free shipping. So it just adds a little extra to it. So, of course, the biggest things that everybody wants to know about this gun is putting the optic on there. And then I really don't have an optic put on there, and I don't know if I'm going to get one. I might. I'm just not a optics type guy on my guns. Not saying anything wrong with that. Don't need to have anybody lose their minds, because it's just I'm slow to change sometimes. But I'm wiggling that because I'm just showing that after I did fire a couple hundred rounds, the screws did walk out a little bit. No big deal. I'm not complaining. I know someone's going to say, God, dude, just tighten them up. And I will. I just wanted to show you. So that does walk out, and so I may just put a little blue Loctite in there if I decide not to put an optic on there, which I probably won't. I honestly don't know yet. But these sights for self-defense type purposes, even the race suppressor ready sights, are great. And I can't get that front sight to focus in, but that white circle is huge, and it is very nice picking up targets with that. And with a very slight adjustment, because I was shooting a little bit low, with a very slight change in your hold, you shoot very accurately, especially for self-defense type range and situations. That white, I don't want to call it a dot, it's a big circle, but it works really nice. I really like the way they did that. And I'm showing a fake sight picture there because that's moving. You'd think that my sights are off, but once I tighten that back up, it'll be good. And another thing that I will address is some people are saying this little wing feature that they've put on that is some kind of, I don't know how you want to word it, basically just for show, or they're trying to, I don't know, hit a certain market that likes the tactical type stuff. But I don't think it's for marketing. I think it's really a nice feature that they put on the gun. So what it does is, I was just looking, because it's got these serrations. Why would it have serrations on there? And people say, well, it's to protect the back sights. Yes, it is. It's meant to protect the back sights. And it goes one up from that, because when I see these serrations, they want you to do those tactical slide manipulations with this feature. They want you to, be able to rack it like that, or however, whatever you want to do on your belt or whatever the tactical people like to do. But people say, well, if they were nice made sights, you wouldn't need that. I don't agree with that, because the higher the sights are and the more pressure you put on there, you put more leverage on there, and you're more likely to either damage the sight, manipulate it out of place, or somehow disturb it, or do something you're not supposed to do, because it is high. You put a lot of leverage on those, and I think that's why they put that on there. And it's just to protect that sight from putting too much leverage on it and either breaking it or doing something. It may not break, but it may loosen it up, or anything could happen. And it also makes it a nice little handle for when you want to change this out. And FN has made a big statement, but they've made the lowest cut possible, or at least it's on the market, and it's good. I think it's a very clever way they've done this. It's really simple, but it makes a nice touch. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to put anything on there or not, but it's there, and it's a very good gun. Couple of things that comes with it. If you look at the bag, which I really do like this over the plastic cases, which I got closet absolutely full of those things. I like the bag. I don't know if I could actually use it, but it's got almost everything in here. If you were just taking this one gun to the range, and this is it, you could load all your mags. And I put these on here on purpose. I'm like, well, I'll load these up. The next big thing that they advertise on this gun is those 24 round extended mags. And some people say they look funny, they look goofy, but what are they meant for? They're meant for getting you more range time without having to unload. If you do want to run this as like tactical, and I know everybody's calling these guns tactical nowadays, but if you want to keep this for home defense or whatever, you've got 24 plus 1, so you 25 rounds. They're great, and this doesn't look much different than having one of the Glock stick mags with 30 rounds in it. I mean, they're going to look disproportionate and odd, but I mean, you can't really help it. I think that's a great touch. They put the nice sleeve on there. It's removable, but it doesn't want to fly off, so you don't really have to worry about it coming off easy. But there's the mag without that, so it's a nice little feature. It does come with 2 total back straps. This one came on it with a hump, and I just wanted to see how the straight flat one worked, and I really can't tell which one I like better. I might have to play with it a little bit. I mean, both of them get the job done. It's going to be your personal preference. Brings you down to what else comes in the bag. It's like, what's in the box, what's in the bag. So you got all your other nonsense. Here is all the pieces you get for mounting whatever optics you have. Very nice touch by FN. Like I said, I'm not typically an FN fan. There's a couple guns they have that I like. Was not really keen on the 509, but I like this setup with a much better, with just a couple little improvements. But that's what you get in the bag. You get this bizarre, insane thing that no one wants to read. And I did see the one review where the guy was doing his review, and he was a real channel. I'm not a real channel, so I can't really say anything. But he didn't know how many back straps it came with, and didn't know that it came with these. It comes with kind of a target grade type, ammo recoil spring, which is this one. This is what came in the gun. I took it out, and there's a yellow one that comes up with it that you're supposed to use if you're firing suppressed or any really type of lively ammo. So I just took that one out from the get-go. I said, well, I don't need that. I don't really see a reason to have this for me with ammo I shoot. So I put the yellow one in there. And guys, I will say, I saw this guy having malfunctions like crazy. I put 500 suppressed rounds through this thing in 2 range visits, and I ran out of my 147 grain, so I was shooting. I probably got maybe 400 rounds of 147 Remington in there, and some Freedom munitions. I had some Freedom munitions 147, but I put 115 grain in there, a couple different brands, and shot that suppressed just because that's all I had left. And it cycled absolutely everything. And that was just suppressed. I shot a couple more 100 rounds with just, without the suppressor, just to see how I could do with these sights. And the gun shot flawless and not one malfunction. I was so intrigued that I put this in there just to see how bad it would be. And yeah, it doesn't like this at all with the suppressor. So this is going to stay in my bag. I don't have a real use for this one, but if you're using ammo that you're going to use, the frangible ammo or whatever, you've got this. It's a good touch they put in there. It'll save you from having to order one depending on how you're shooting the gun. But I just put the yellow one in there and did great. I mean, I've had zero problems with this gun. And the one guy didn't want to read the manual, but I will go in his defense and say it don't actually tell you things like the way they've designed this with the little washer feature in there that keeps the thread protector on but not the suppressor. It really doesn't tell you that in the instruction booklet, but they do say it on enough videos where they have been people out there that you should know. And it comes with 2 back straps. It just says that in the book that each model may vary how many back straps you get. And so this is kind of dirty. I mean, it used a suppressor. It's going to be a little dirty. We'll take a look at that real quick. I'm taking up a lot more time than I planned on doing this. This breaks down kind of like a Glock. Oh, dang it. There we go. And there is that recoil spring. It's a little dirty. Not as bad as I thought it would be, actually. Take that out. So that is one I would use if I was most people. I would just stick that one in there. You'll save yourself a lot of malfunctions. Take this off. See, pretty simple. There's the thread. Like I said, as long as you're shooting with just that thread protector on there. I don't know what the limit. I don't know how often you can shoot it without that popping off, but I will say a couple 100 rounds it's not going to come off. There's the barrel. So just a little dirty. Not nowhere near as I thought from shooting the suppressor. So not too bad. But that's just my little take on the 509 Tactical. I really like it. I say if you're looking to run optics, this is a nice selection for you. If you're not going to run an optic on it, I don't know if you're going to get your money's worth out of it. I know money spending is subjective. Some people will spend money on anything. I've been guilty of that. But if you're going to run an optic on it, run this the way it's intended to be ran. I think you'll get your money's worth out of it, and I think you'll really like it. And I think just with a couple improvements they put on the original, I would like to see them retrofit the original 509 with the different mag release. Maybe that Vickers, or maybe you can buy that. I don't know if you can get that for the 509 or not. But little touches often make the best touches. So thanks for watching. Hope I didn't talk too long. Thanks.